Right, so for today's planting we're going back to the fairly remote field where we planted the Araucaria and the giant bamboo, and we're going to be adding to this, I think, our first fruit tree that I put up here, if we don't count the yucca, because the yucca probably will not fruit here. The flowers are edible, but we do not have the moth here. This fruit we do have the pollinators for, because this is one of the most sort of diverse pollinator type trees there is. So this is a Syzygium. This is Syzygium cumini, which is the Java plum, which was given to me by a friend, the same friend who gave me the elder and the date palm recently. So we're going to be popping that in a little bit of a pit. So similar to the way I've done the pandanus and some of the bananas in the past, we're going to be creating a little bit of a lip around the edge just to make sure that this will hold a little bit more water, so I can water it more heavily and it can sink in. This is one of the few sort of woody trees that I would say this is fine with, because generally speaking trees do want oxygen around their roots. They don't want to be permanently wet. You do have some specialists like things like mangroves and a few other swamp trees that really are perfectly happy to be permanently waterlogged, and in Zambia, generally speaking, if you have a significant amount of trees on the edge of a swamp or all the way into a swamp sometimes, where there is never any real air around the roots, it's usually Syzygiums, because they're really, really good at that environment. They are quite spreading in their roots generally. They do have some deep roots too, but generally speaking their roots spread really well and sit high enough that they don't become too anoxic and die because of that. So they're really good ones for wet planting, and this really should serve this well, because this is sort of fundamentally a riverine tree. I mean, this is a rainforest tree, to be honest, but the closest environment we can sort of treat it with here is riverine, and so giving it regular flooding by giving it a pit rather than just having it level with the ground should serve it a lot better, and when the rains come it shouldn't mind constantly sitting in water at all. We're going to be giving it a standard Dracaena fragrans as a little marker plant. This is going to go due north of it just to keep the midday sun off it at this time of year when the sun is very much to the north of us. We're also going to be giving it a piece of aloe arborescens. This doesn't want to be flooded, so we're actually going to be putting the stalk of this into the side of the hole, which has been softened by the soaking I gave it when I dug it. So this won't be sitting in the water so often. It'll be outside into that still somewhat more compacted soil that the water isn't going to seep into as fast. And hopefully by the time the rains come, this will have spread roots into the surrounding area and it won't really mind the pit next to it flooding so much. And then we're also going to be putting in a whole bunch of pieces of the Kalanchoe pinnata, which is the cathedral bells Kalanchoe, which I may be trying to eradicate these from the place that I'm removing them to plant on all these places, but it's a really good one for providing very quick, very instant shade to a lot of smaller things when you don't have lots of Dracaena fragrans heads to spare. And that should be everything for tonight. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it, and if you haven't enjoyed it, thank you for watching anyway. Please tune in again tomorrow. I will be planting something else. I have no idea what yet. I have to come up with a plan, and we will find out what that is tomorrow then.